Baba Kalyani, Chairman and Managing Director of Bharat Forge, now joining in as we have been getting many voices from India Inc. to celebrate and, of course, mourn the loss of one of the tallest leaders of India Inc., celebrate his legacy, but at the same time somber because we, of course, will dearly and deeply miss him. Mr. Kalyani, thank you very much for joining in. Let's start by understanding your recollections, any meetings, any interactions, something that stands out in your memory when it comes to Mr. Tata.
First of all, let me just say one sentence that Ratan Tata really brought India together in terms of India's industry. He created a vision for India to move forward, and that's the respect he gained amongst the entire industry. As far as personally I'm concerned, I've known him for many years, even prior to 1991 when he took over as chairman of Tata Sons. And I've had the opportunity to meet him personally many times for advice on our business. And he always was very open, very frank, very genuine in terms of talking to me, in terms of giving us advice. I remember many instances when we have flown together. We went to Washington together on an Air India flight along with the Prime Minister's delegation for the 2006 nuclear talks. So I have had the fortune of spending a lot of time with him. I think India will miss him greatly. He was somebody who built a strong and positive brand for India. His greatest quality was his values, which put people first. And there are multiple actions which demonstrated this, but the most demonstrable action was during 26/11, and what he did and how the group took care of their employees of the Taj and their families. The great man, India will miss him. We will all miss him personally, but he has left a tremendous legacy for all of us.
I think those are visuals also, Mr. Kalyani. Hi, good morning. Those are visuals also coming in from the from Mr. Tata's residence, where I think there's a small ceremony being held. They will move to the NCPA, where his body will be kept all day today, as people will pour in to pay their respects. And I think that's what's happening with the visuals which are coming in. Our colleague Yash is there, and we'll go to him as well. Mr. Kalyani, when you're heading that large, I mean, the largest industrial group in the country, right? Big capital allocation decisions, I guess, would be something which occupy a fair amount of your time. As a business leader yourself, sir, how would you remember him in those respects? Because you have to make the big decisions, and he did, right? He did those sort of big acquisitions in the auto space and the steel space back in 2007-8.
This is where I used to go to him for advice. He was very clear in his thoughts. He always believed that Indian companies need to go global. He always believed that India has the capability to be a big industrial nation. And I think that was the direction at least he put me in. And yes, today we are going through some massive transformation in every business because the whole technology scenario has changed very dramatically. And technology changed with the advent of artificial intelligence, digital technology, and everything else is a very different ball game today than what it is. So when you look at capital allocation today, you can at best figure out what you're going to do for the next 5 years. But we are very clear that we need to grow faster than what the nation is growing. So I think the opportunities in India are very great. There's a target that has already been set for us by the Honorable Prime Minister. And I think every group, and Tata Group is leading in all these fields, whether it's semiconductors, electronics, all the stuff they are doing. And we, in our own way, are doing what we are good at.
Good morning, Mr. Kalyani, and good to see you, Ben, as always. You briefly mentioned about interacting with Mr. Tata and also reaching out for advice at times. What stood out for me was ethics over profitability. And he marked India's ascendancy into the globe as well. Give us a couple of instances as well where you'd have reached out to him and, taken the next decision.
Well, it's very difficult to remember each instance, but I know a couple of years ago, I went to his house because those days he was not going to office very regularly. So I used to go to his house in South Bombay. And, whenever I requested for time, he would definitely give time. He would listen. He would give advice. Sometimes he would not agree with what I said, which was fine. I always treated him as an elder statesman of the industry, somebody whose advice was very, very useful for people like us. I've known Bombay House for the last 50 years. My father used to know J.R.D. Tata. I used to know Suman Mulgaonkar. That time, Mr. Ratan Tata was not part of the Tata Sons system. But, that whole culture there and the way the Tata culture is embodied, I think Ratan Tata just took it a couple of steps ahead. And, the nation will miss him. We will all miss him.
No, absolutely. Mr. Kalyani, we'll leave it there. Thank you very much for joining us on this somber day as we remember Mr. Tata. Appreciate you taking out the time and being with us here on the channel. Once again, I just want to point out to our viewers that those are visuals of the journey from Mr. Tata's residence to NCPA, and the body will be kept at NCPA for people to be able to pay their tributes, last respects all day there. All right.